These are still some of the biggest glaciers in the lower 48.
When you actually stand on a glacier, that's a lot of water sitting beneath you. There's plants and animals that need that water to survive.
We can't say what's going to happen to all the animals living in that forest, but it's certainly going to change.
We're trying to see how climate change is affecting the quality of the water.
This is a logistically highly intense, highly complex expedition. There's no question about it.
Rerun the Chesebro transect with both antennae.
What we were trying to do is find the volume of the glacier.
We'd like to create a new benchmark for the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem.
A lot of people hear about melting glaciers and they think, oh no, glaciers are melting, we're in big trouble.
I think many people would fail to recognize the significance of the loss of glaciers in the Wind Rivers.
Why are these glaciers melting? How are they melting? What's the cause of it?
If the glaciers leave, we can't survive. Water is key in farming and ranching.
Irrigation is just as important. Municipal water is just as important. Livestock water is important. All these other things are just as important.
If we have reduced stream flow, it can definitely affect our trout populations.
How does that impact the wildlife? How does it impact the vegetation?
They are absolutely fascinating. They're incredible to look at. I'm always in awe in that size and that power when you stand in front of a glacier and you see how massive it is.
Glaciers are on every continent except Australia. They cover nearly 10% of the Earth's land surface and provide nearly 3/4 of the world's fresh water. For millennia, glaciers have carved valleys and eroded and scoured the landscape. Continental glaciers, or ice sheets, cover nearly all of Greenland and Antarctica.
Mountain glaciers, specifically around the world, serve over 1 billion people in terms of their water resource. The Alps, the Andes, they have glaciers as well, right on the equator, that are incredibly important to their communities.
But huge glaciers in polar regions are disappearing at an alarming rate. A mass of ice the size of Delaware recently broke away from Antarctica. And Greenland's glaciers regularly calve huge icebergs into the North Atlantic. As a result, sea levels are rising in low-lying areas around the world. And while interior mountain glaciers are not nearly as large as those near the poles, their cumulative melting could potentially raise sea levels even more quickly. Alpine glaciers are found only in steep-walled mountain basins and U-shaped valleys, like those in the Wind River Range. The Wind Rivers slash across 120 miles of west-central Wyoming. They're home to more than 40 named peaks over 13,000 feet, and 7 of the largest glaciers in the American Rockies. Glaciers represent a unique source of fresh water for cities, farms, ranches, factories, fish and wildlife, and are important components of an area's recreation opportunities and tourism. But in Wyoming, as in the rest of the world, melting glaciers pose a threat to communities and ecosystems.
We'll follow the trail around Burro Flats on this east side. We top out at 10,008, and we're starting out down here at about 76. So you do the math.
A group of citizen scientists are heading deep into the Wind River Range towards Gannett Peak, the highest point in the state. At 13,804 feet, it is considered to be one of the country's most difficult points to summit. Gannett is in the midst of steep, rugged, and remote wilderness. Tucked away on its northern and eastern slopes lie two of the largest ice masses in the American Rockies, Gannett and Dinwoody Glaciers. The glaciers of the winds have been shrinking at an accelerated rate over the past 40 years. The impact from glacial retreat could have significant effects on the local ecosystem and downstream farms and ranches.